Hello and welcome. My name is Robert Lyon. So today we're going to be going over what I call the Breakthrough Challenge. Okay. And this is a life-changing event. I really recommend everybody grab a pen and paper. I really believe in this. It's not a matter of, maybe this works. This is something that I only released to my exclusive clients and has had, hundreds of breakthroughs for people. And I've also done this for myself in my own personal life. And this is one of the key things, the key pivotal lessons and breakdowns that I've learned that has actually changed my life, right? That has actually moved the needle, that has actually gotten me where further ahead. What is a breakthrough? How can we create a breakthrough in our lives? In order to have a breakthrough, it has to mean a couple things. It either means that you're stuck somewhere in your life, you want more, which is what I hope everybody is here, or you've hit rock bottom, right? And you're trying to climb up, right? There's always a caveat for what we need to break through for. So this is going to give you the tools you need to consistently have breakthroughs in your life, get through to the next level. So I want your attention. I want you to take some notes. I want you to focus on this. So the goal of this presentation is to give you the powerful tools to create radical change or a breakthrough in your life. Okay, here's how it works. Bring something you want to work on. The bigger, more emotional struggle that it is, the better. And this is going to be some sort of daily habit that you've struggled with. All right, examples are, journaling or cold calling or something that you've said you were going to implement that you've just been having a hard time doing, and you actually even feel a little bit of guilt because you know it would change the game for you. Ideally, something that you've struggled with for a while. If you have no idea what it could be, don't stress. I'll help you sort that out. Okay. Some of the most common ones are: I want to get out of bed earlier. I want to work out consistently. I want to eat healthier. Nailing your morning routine, getting your most important tasks done first, maybe meditating, journaling, but it can be anything you want, right? It doesn't matter how long you've struggled with it either. In fact, the longer you struggled with it, the better, right? And this program is going to reprogram your mind so that you can do that habit and become the best version of yourself. All right. This is an experience that will provide you a mechanism or a tool for you to install one simple action or behavior in your life. And installing the simple action is going to get you different results than you are right now. Now, we want to keep it simple, right? We don't want to overcomplicate the stuff. And typically in life, the biggest breakthroughs, the most advanced stuff that you have going on for you are just simple changes that we can commit to. I believe that simplicity is the only thing that has and will ever move your life forward. Okay. Leonardo da Vinci, one of my idols, says simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. There's so much confusing noise, so much just BS going on out there right now in life. Like there's just TikTok, brain everywhere, like just too much stimulation. And the truth is the simple things that are going to be what's going to break you through to the next level. Any brain dead and aimless human can complicate things, right? We complicate mindlessly, but I refuse to participate in that trend. Okay, needless overcomplication is exactly what you will not find here. This is going to give you a simple, real world way to have a breakthrough in your life. So step one is wake up. Wake up. What does that mean? It means you have to be conscious. It means, are you really living your best life? Are you actively doing everything that you want to do in this reality? Or are you doing what your boss tells you to do? Are you living your life for somebody else? Okay. So the step one, though, is you have to wake up. You have to want a breakthrough in your life. You have to be tired of the mundane, be tired of the average, and you have to listen to that little voice in you, because everybody has that little voice that says, I want more out of my life. I want to be more, do more, have more. I want greatness. I want something extraordinary for myself. And it all starts by waking up. I don't know if you're like me, but I think everybody's had that one moment where they're like, I need to change some shit in my life, and I'm going to wake up, and from now on, I'm going to change my life. Okay. But you have to have that inner dog in you, really. You have to have that light bulb go off in your brain. And you have to start realizing that you have to think for yourself. Breaking through, waking up, you have to understand that truth is relative. Everything that people have told you what to do typically is not the best thing for you, right? Everybody used to say, oh, first you go to school, then you get a degree, you get a job, and then you retire, right? And then all of us kind of start to wake up and realize, okay, that's not really working anymore. That's not really the best thing for me. For me, maybe I want to be an artist. Maybe I want to invent something. Maybe I want to become an entrepreneur, right? There's different levels to this. but you have to wake up and you have to want something more. And you have to break free from this. And you have to, the best way that I can describe it is start reasoning by first principles. So instead of taking what everybody tells you to do, you have to break things down to their fundamental truths and you have to build them up from there. Well, you have to basically say, okay, this is what everybody else is telling me what to do. Is that true? Is that my reality? And then you have to start asking yourself, are you truly living the life that you want to be living? This is very, very, very powerful, but it all starts by waking up. And I just want that little light bulb to go on and be like, oh, I'm awake now. I'm making conscious decisions. I am fully in control of my life. Now we're going to go into what everybody came here for, typically. And what most of my clients come here is they basically say, hey, I want to go from here to there, right? At the very simplest degree of having a breakthrough. The breakthrough is I'm over here. I want to be here. And Robert, if you could get me there without all the drama, the overwhelm, the procrastination, the imposter syndrome, and all that stuff, I'll give you $1 bazillion, right? That's what most of my clients come to me say. If you can just get me from here to there without all that other stuff, I would be grateful, right? And that's what this process is all about, okay? So I'm going to go into a couple different things that I need you to understand that are a little bit different, okay? So right here is A, okay? This is you, all right? And B, this is where you want to go. Now this little line is the ups and downs of our lives. This is the ups and downs of what we do and where we are right now, right? And this flow of up and down, this is our human nature, just part of the human experience, right? And the reason that we have ups and downs is because of this little word right here called fear. When things are going really well, we start to get scared because, oh my God, things are going so well, they can't possibly continue to be going this well. And then we pull ourselves down. And then when we're at the very bottom, we start to fear and we start to say, oh my God, this is so terrible. Like, is this going to be my life forever? I need to turn things around, and we get back. And this little line in between is just the regular path of life everybody goes through to get from A to B. Now, what we want to do is we don't even want to go to B. We want to go up here. We want to grow. We want to hit this pot of gold that everybody's been seeking for, that everybody's been wanting for so long. This is called growth, okay? And the bigger goal that you shoot for, the more there's going to be these big up and downs, and that's called gap tension, or at least that's what I call it. So the higher you go, the bigger your ups and downs are going to be, okay? And this is only if you don't know what I'm about to teach you, right? Now, what I'm going to teach you is about your human nature. This is something that everybody should know, but nobody listens to, okay? Everybody should understand that there's different ways to live this life. Now, a lot of people go against their human nature. Now, human nature, again, is just the flow, but I picture it as like a stream, right? And it's flowing in one direction because there's certain things that you are just naturally good at, right? And then there's certain things that you are naturally not good at, that is a grind, that is super hard, that you just hate doing, right? And it's just a drag. And so a lot of people are going to tell you, hey, keep doing this thing even though you hate it. I'm going to tell you the opposite. The moment that you start to flow with your human nature in the right direction, that's when you can start to have the biggest breakthroughs. Okay. The biggest breakthroughs come from when you go with your natural human nature, when you start to go with your greatest gifts. I started my podcast because I was really good at talking with people, and I had been making music forever. So I had all the equipment, and I knew that I was already naturally good at interviewing people, naturally good at conversating. And as soon as I started to go down that path, I started to have breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after success after success. Right. And I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I had gotten out of the military and I just didn't want to work for anybody anymore. And as soon as I basically got let out of the oil field, I started a business and I started to have breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough because I knew I could work hard. I knew I wanted to have freedom, and that's what I got. And I knew that I could focus, right, on certain things. So as soon as I started going with my human nature, my entire life changed. And you guys just need to understand what your human nature is. Okay. And then there's a big difference down here between knowing versus doing. Now, in this program and in this short little video, I'm going to show you exactly figuring out what you should be doing. But a lot of people get hung up on thinking they should know what to do, right? They say, oh, I know I should be doing this. I know I should be doing that. The reality is, though, if you start taking action, the knowing will become very, very clear. This is the simplicity part again. All right. So let's say that you have to go from here to there, right? And you have this really, really long crazy long train track. The only way that you're going to get from where you are now to where you want to be is if you just take one step at a time, one railroad tie at a time. Instead of trying to go viral, instead of trying to just blow up overnight, win the lottery, no, you just need to figure out what direction you're heading. And then you need to take one step at a time, and you are guaranteed to get there. That is the beautiful thing about success. That is the beautiful thing about our lives. And the problem is that we forget either where we're going, we turn around, or we just stop going entirely. But the truth is, if you just take one railroad tie at a time, if you just take one step forward at a time, you will inevitably get there. You will hit your goals. You will find success. You will find happiness. You will get the life that you've always wanted, but you have to keep just taking one step at a time. That's very, very key. And that's what's so beautiful about this simple breakthrough challenge that I'm basically teaching you guys. Now let's go over again. Like, I want you to understand even more about human nature, okay? Typically, this is where people are. They're down here, right? They have the ups and downs of life, right? This is life's path. Things are really good, and then things get really shitty, and then things get really good again. Now, this is a good thing to remember, especially if you're in these negative parts, that life will always have a big upswing, a big turnaround for you, and you'll be back on top. But this is life, right? And the craziest thing, though, is up here at the top, this is your life when you are going with your human nature. Okay, so I want you to see, like, this is life, this is your high, but when you're going with your human nature, your lows are way above your old way of life, right? Just because you're already in your greatest timeline, right? Where you're living your best potential and you're doing what you love, you're doing what you're good at, you're excelling. So your lows are now 10 times higher than your highs ever were in your past life, right? And this is where we want you to be. We want you to be up here. And this is your life when you're going with your human nature, as opposed to just doing what everybody tells you to do. Okay, so you have to capture this, and you have to understand who you are, right? And that's probably one of the biggest challenges and the biggest things that everybody kind of doesn't necessarily take the time when they should, because your entire life is about figuring out who you are. But it's always a growing experience. But as soon as you start to pick up on the subtleties of, oh, I'm really good at this, I should focus on this, and I should basically delegate and give everything else to these other people, your life is going to get a lot better. So this comes down to identity. Identity is an interesting word, and it's a tough one to explain, but it's the story that you tell yourself. And this is how we're going to change everything in your life. If you can change the story that you say about yourself, you can change the story that is actually happening in your real life. So I am this, I am that. If you identify as someone who can't journal, if you identify as someone who doesn't work out, if you identify as someone who doesn't wake up early, it's never going to change for you. It's never going to happen. But if you start to identify as someone who is going to wake up early, somebody who is being the greatest version of themselves, and you consistently are telling you this story, I identify as this person, your whole life is going to change. But it all comes down to the story that you tell yourself in your head and the identity that you present to yourself. Now, this can really come clear if you learn meditation, if you learn journaling, but it really is the key thing to all change. The key thing to lasting change is changing your identity. Identify the identity, right? This is so I basically, spoon fed a little bit of identity. We're going to get more into that. But in order for you to have a breakthrough, a instant positive and lasting change in your life. Now I started this off with some really bold claims, and now I'm getting even bolder. I'm telling you, if you do this, you will have an instant positive and lasting change in your life. Okay, so this is not a small thing. This is a very serious thing, and that's why I'm excited to kind of show this to you. All right, but this is part of the challenge. Okay, so the first part of the challenge is figuring out, who do you want to be? Right? We talked about it already. It's like, if you're going with your human nature, if you are being the best version of yourself, your life is going to be that much better. But now you still have to understand, who do you want to be? And the way that you decide who you want to be is, first you have to figure out, who are these other people in life that I want to be like? What are their characteristics? Well, who is this character that I want to become? Because in order for us to have a breakthrough and have an identity shift, we have to create a new character. We have to create a new version of ourselves, and the best version of ourselves. And we have to start living that life, and we have to start being that person. So the best way that you can do this is create a new character. And the way that you create a new character, because you got to have somewhere to start, is imagine who you will be once you accomplish your goals. Imagine the biggest, greatest version of yourself. What kind of character is this going to be? What kind of traits are they going to do? What kind of daily habits is this person going to have? What are their characteristics? What are their traits? What are their virtues? What are they going to say at the eulogy of this person, of the you? And then how do you make others feel when they are around you? And how do you make yourself feel when you are this person? You got to think of people that you idolize, right? So let's just do the easy ones, right? Tony Robbins. What are the characteristics of Tony Robbins? Well, he's very big, right? He's very loud. He's very uplifting, right? He makes people feel good. He makes people have energy. He raises the vibration in the room just by being around him, right? What are some other ones? Like Grant Cardone? He wants to make tons of money, right? He has these huge characteristics. He has this huge ego as well, right? So maybe that's something you don't necessarily need, but he has these big motivation, right? 10x everything, do things bigger, right? So these are the characteristics that you have to ask yourself. Okay, so when you're trying to figure out who do you want to be, it's good to take examples of people in your life that you see and write down the characteristics of these people. What about these people do I want to be like? Okay, and now we can have something that we can work with. Now we have something that we can aim towards. Now we have something that we can do. And we are still just trying to figure out, who am I? But more importantly, who do I want to be? Who is the best version of myself? Who is that person that when I look in the mirror, I'm like, hell yeah, this is my life. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to do. Now, there's no wrong answers to this. Right? This can be anything that you want. But this is for you to become the person that you truly want to be and the person that you can be. So you should do this. You should have this idea in your head of who are the top 5 people that I look up to, right? Or who are the top people that have a business that I want to live? Who are the top 5 people that are living the life that I want to live? What about that life that they're doing right now do I want specifically? And what is it that they do? How is it that they feel about themselves that I can start to feel about myself? How do they make other people feel? And then the big thing that I'm only going to talk about this once, but it's if you've ever read the 7 Healthy Habits of Highly Effective People, they ask you to say, okay, when you die, what are people going to say at your eulogy about you? What are the things that you want them to say? For me, if people come up there and say, Robert was a thinker, and he said his mind and he changed my life, right? That's a win for me. I want to help people. I want to change people's lives. I want to be that person. So if they say that at my eulogy, I'm going to be ecstatic, right? I think that is a good life. So what is it that people are going to say at your funeral? What is it that people are going to say about you that you can start to be right now? Not in the future, not later, but right now. All right. But this is the beginning. So the who is the first W. There's 4 W's in this. Who is the character that you want to be? The next is what, right? What is the greatest version of you doing? Okay. What do you do? What actions, if you are the greatest version of yourself, do you just naturally do? And this can be a habit. This can be an achievement. This can be a reaction. It can be a routine. This can be achievements. Okay. When you are being the ideal version of yourself, what type of things do you just naturally do, right? So now you have a list of who you want to be like or who you want to be. Now you're going to make a list of what are the things that person, the greatest version of yourself, will naturally do. And you should make a whole bunch of these. You should start writing down, well, this person would, wake up early. He would eat the best food, wouldn't drink alcohol, wouldn't smoke cigarettes, would read all the time, would work out consistently, would go out of his way to help others, right? Whatever it is for you, what are the actions that the best version of yourself would naturally do? All right, this is very, very powerful. This is the second W. So it goes who, and then the what. And then now we're going to talk about the which, right? We're going on a witch hunt. So these are the things that we kind of need to think about, though. Like, who do I want to be? What are the things that I should naturally be doing if I am this person? All right. And then now we have this block, right? We have this building block of all these things that we want to be, of who we want to be and what we should be doing. Now we're just going to narrow it down, right? We're going to simplify it. We're going to focus on it. We're going to pick which one of these things should I actually do that will give me the biggest breakthrough. These are the rules, though, of which one of these habits you should do. Because at the end of this challenge, if you really want to have a breakthrough, if you really want to get where you want to go in life, you basically have to pick one of these and you have to start doing it every single day. That's how you have a breakthrough. It's actions, right? It's taking action towards the life that you truly want, towards the breakthrough that you truly want. So we have to figure out first, who do we want to be? What are these characteristics? What are the things that person makes you feel and act and be like? And then what are the things that they do? And then now we're just going to cut them down to 3. Now, here's the rules for which one of these habits you should really do. Number 1, you have to want it for yourself. It's not for anybody else. This is for you. This is for your life. This is for your greatest good, your greatest purpose, your highest self. So you have to want it for yourself. This isn't for your kids. This isn't for your grandma. This isn't for your work. This is for you. This has to be a goal that you truly want. This has to be a habit that you truly want. It should be something that you've wanted forever. Something that's just been like eating at you is even better. Something that like if you knew that you started right away, that it would completely change your life forever. And it has to be something big too. It can't be a short-term win. This should be something that's going to take you the distance for the rest of your life. Like adding one habit and sticking with it will change your life in more ways than you can even imagine. But you have to pick one that you've always wanted. And this is big. You have to want the results and the rewards from doing this. You have to want these things. You have to want the result, the end results. Otherwise, you're going to stop doing it. And you have to want the things that have typically created the most emotional disruption. This is why it's a breakthrough, right? This is why it's a big deal to do this stuff, because you might know what I'm talking about right away. There might be one habit that you've been trying to do for years and years and years, and you just cannot do it, and it eats you up at night. It pisses you off. It causes you emotional disruption. Those are the habits that we need to start doing right away. And you have to write down 3 of these habits. All right. You want to write down 3 things to be and 3 things to do. Okay. So these are the big things, and make them really juicy, make them mean something to your life. So you're going to write down 3 things to be and 3 things to do. Finally, this is the last of the W's. This is the word. This is like kind of like affirmations, right? But this is going to be the tone of how you do the actions. The word is a descriptive word of the state of being. The word is a descriptive word of your state of being. Now you should already have an action you want to do, and now you have to create a word. Okay, an example of the word is bold. So we're not looking for little sissy words. We're looking for bold or like greatness or mastery. And it's the way that you do these actions. It's the way that you are going to be whenever you are taking control of your life. This is a word that is just for you. And this changed the game for me whenever I was, trying to change my life as well, because it's like an affirmation, but it's deeper than that. All right. So if you're taking action every day, there's a way that you're taking action, right? If you want greatness, let's say greatness is the word, then everything you're going to be doing is going to be leaning towards, he did it on the purpose of becoming great at that, right? I built Credit Leverage X to create the greatest funding company possible. I'm going to hop on this sales call because I want this to be the greatest sales call possible. I'm working on this podcast because I want it to be the greatest podcast. So there's a difference between when I add a descriptive word to the way that I do things than just doing the action blankly. So you need to figure out what the word is on how you're going to do this stuff. And this is going to make it even more powerful, because whenever you're going through your day, you're going to say, okay, look, I identify as someone who is on the quest for greatness, right? So as somebody who's on the quest for greatness, I'm going to do this action in the greatest way possible that I can. Or I'm going to do this action with very boldly. I'm going to tell people what I believe. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be bold with it. All right. So the word is very powerful. It's something that you can totally glaze over, but I really recommend you start to identify with whatever your big word is. It could be mastery. It could be powerfully. It's something that describes the way that you are in everyday life, and you can start to identify, and you can start to tell yourself. And I didn't mean to have it here twice, but I put it twice actually because it's a word that is descriptive of your state of being. Now, I know that was a lot of personal development stuff, but it's all going to come together now. All right, this is the triangle, right? And this triangle is super powerful. Right. So this is you, right? This is our normal levels of life. Now, this is our normal stuff. We're all trying to get to the goal. Who knows what this is, but we want more, right? There's that little voice in you that we want to go not down here. We want to go for the pot of gold. We want to live an exceptional life. We don't want to be like the regular people. We don't want to be average. Now, how do we go there? Well, remember I told you, okay, so if we go up here, there's this I said it in the first slide, this gap tension, right? So we're going to constantly be struggling and struggling and struggling, going uphill. It looks like a lot of work. It's so much pain and agony and growth, right? And it just doesn't make it. But here's the caveat. If we change our vision, if we change our mindset, this becomes a lot easier. This becomes just a walk in the park. This becomes just our daily routine to get to the pot of gold. This is when we can start to break through. All right. So this is the new level of par. All right. Going with your human nature. Okay. So instead of being stuck down here, we're now going to visualize ourselves. We're going to identify ourselves. And we are going to have the mindset that this is what we do every day. This is just the regular life of what we do. So we've literally just raised our standards. By identifying as somebody who takes the steps towards our greatest version of ourselves, towards the pot of gold every single day without all the drama, without all the pain, without all the agony. And we are now on a different level, a different standard. And the things that we do is just second nature to us because it is human nature, right? It is going with our human nature towards the big pot of gold. And this is the big breakthrough that you can have. And there's always going to be different levels to this, right? We're going to create a new level here. And then we're going to create a new identity of who we want to be. We're going to create an action that we want to take. And we're going to create the understanding that this is how I'm going to do this thing every single day. And once you get to this new level, this is our new standard now. This is our new level of being. This is our new natural way of living our lives. So we have just raised our standards. Now, if you continue to raise your standards, the standard of your life is going to get better. And these ups and downs are very, very easy for people to see once you start to understand it. Now, your bank account is probably the most obvious up and down situation, right? Because it's a literal number. So when our bank account gets full of cash, we start to panic because we're like, oh my God, how do I have this much money? How can we do this? And you start to spend and buy shit that you don't need. And then when you're totally broke, you also kick in this level because you're like, oh shit, I got to make some money. I got to make something happen right now. And instead, so these are the ups and downs, right? And it's not just money though. It can be, the cleanliness of your house. It can be super, super clean. And then you say, oh, I'll let things go for a little while. And then it can be super, super dirty. And then you're like, oh, I got panic. I got to clean everything up so it gets back. So these are the ups and downs of your normal life of par. But once you start to get up here and you start to realize, okay, I identify as somebody who saves a lot of money. I identify as someone who doesn't overspend when I have a lot of money. I identify as somebody who's consistently making more money. Now our level of standards has just gone up. So we can identify that this is our new way of being. This is our new way of seeing our lives. This is our new way of figuring it out. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. This is the triangles. Okay, so you want to be up here. You want to identify as someone who's going through their pot of gold, and it is doing it in the easiest, most fluid, natural way possible. And this is the secret sauce, right? This is the secret that brings it all together, that makes it all powerful. So there's a lot of, and the secret ingredient is choice, right? You have a choice every day in your life to turn things around, to be identifying as that person who does these things, right? And it all starts though by making a choice. The two most powerful things that we have in our life is our choices and our identity. All right, so this is time, right? So time is always going up, and this is momentum. And it seems like whenever things are going really well, we hit this point, right? And we have the choice to either continue going up or to self-sabotage and start to go back down, right? And this is what most people do. Most people, everything's going great. We love our lives, and we get to this point of where we're uncomfortable, where we don't know what to do. And instead of continuing to the upside and continuing doing the boring work, continuing identifying as the person who deserves the success in our lives, we say, oh, no, this is uncomfortable. I'm going to go back down here. One of my favorite stories is Charles Barkley. Okay, Charles Barkley, he's a famous basketball player, but he was basically he didn't graduate from high school, right? He was one of the best basketball players ever in the country, but he had this pivotal turning point where he got estranged from his father, and he didn't really know his father, but he wanted to make his father proud. And then his father ends up going to Charles Barkley's graduation, right? And Charles Barkley had decided, I'm not going to graduate. Fuck this school. And then as soon as he found out that his dad, who he had been estranged from for so long, went to his graduation, that he had decided that he wasn't going to be at, he basically went under the bleachers and he cried and he made this decision in his life. He said, I am never going to let people down in my life ever again. I am only going to take complete control of my life and I'm going to go where I want to go. And he obviously, from that moment, that was his turning point, though. He turned everything around from there. He stopped getting in trouble. He stopped hanging out with the wrong people. And he went on to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Right. And every hero you've ever had, or every person you've ever wanted to be, has this turning point where they make the choice to, instead of self-sabotage and go back to what's comfortable down here, I'm going to go even higher. Okay. I'm going to identify as somebody who does even better in my life. I'm going to change the narrative of my story and I'm going to go big. I'm going to go for this next level of my life. I'm going to go for this higher version of my life so that I can be that person. And the way that you do that is you make the choice, right? This is your turning point. This is the day that you can turn everything around. You make the choice that I'm going to identify as someone who is successful, someone who is going for that pot of gold, and someone who takes action every single day towards that pot of gold. And I am going to get there eventually, right? And I'm going to not stop until I get there. And then as soon as you do get that pot of gold, now you're going to set an even bigger goal. And you're going to have to readjust your identity as someone who has this even bigger goal, who has this even better life, who has this even better standard for themselves. And this is how you can really start to level up and change your life. This is how you can have that breakthrough. The only way to truly change your life is to make a life-changing choice. This is a dramatic slide, but it's true. The only way that you can change your life is to make a life-changing choice. I believe that choice and identity are the ultimate creative forces of mankind, and it is the only real currency of exchange. All right, I'm talking about choosing a different level that you didn't know was even possible. All right, creation is started by choice. So now we're going to wrap it all together. Okay, I know I threw a lot at you there, and usually this is like spoon-fed to clients over, a couple weeks, right? So I just threw it all at you, but I wanted you to basically absorb this first. So this is your statement, and this is what it basically is at the end. It says, I am, insert your name, Robert Lyon, and I choose right now to be greatness, right? To be bold, right? And the be is way more important than becoming, right? I don't want you to become this. I want you to be this right now, right? This is what it's all about. Right now. That's why it says right here, choose right now to be. This is that word that we were talking about, the descriptive word of how you are going to be right now. And this is your action, am going to journal every day because that is who I am. I'm somebody who journals. I'm somebody who says, or I am going to work out and lift heavy weights every day because that's who I am. I am obsessed with health. I'm obsessed with being fit. Whatever this is for you, this is for you. Remember, okay? So I, insert your name, choose to be right now, your word, whatever action you're going to take, because that is who I am. That is what I do, right? This is how you bring it all together. All right. So now you literally have all of the ingredients you need to go from Clark Kent to Superman. It all starts with, first fixing your identity. Okay. I identify as somebody who does this kind of thing, who is going for this goal, who is going to head for the mountaintops, right? And I am making a choice right now to be that person. And this is my new identity. This is who I am. So now whenever you have that little bitch voice come up in your head, you can now flip on this mechanism and say, no, I identify as somebody who does this every single day. Rain, snow, shine, drama. I'm not saying it to be perfect, but this is how you can do it now. You now understand that I am going to be something bigger. I am going to be the Superman that I possibly can be. And now you can turn this switch on in your life. You can step into the phone booth and become the super version of yourself at any moment, because you now identify as this person who's going for more, who is going for a better life, who's going to have this breakthrough. And you got to this point by figuring out, who is it that I want to be ideally? And first you woke up, right? You realize, okay, I'm here right now. This isn't exactly what I want to be. Who do I want to be? I want to be the greatest fucking version of myself, right? Well, what are the things that the greatest version of myself would do? They would do these things. These are the actions that they would be taking every single day. Which one of these actions is going to get me to the destination? Okay, one step at a time. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It just is, if I did this every single day, I will inevitably get to that level. I will inevitably get to my pot of gold. I will get to the success. And then finally, the word is just to make it even better. I will get there with style. I will get there with finesse. I will get there on my own rules, on my own terms. Now, every day, I'm going to take action on that one thing that's going to get me where I want to go. And I have this ability now to turn into Superman and say, look, I identify as this person. I identify as somebody who kicks ass, take names, and does this one habit no matter what, because it is who I am. It is where I am going, and I am being that person right now. All right. So this is the breakthrough mechanism. This is it. This is how you can start to radically change your life. And you can turn this switch at any moment and become the best version of yourself. And you should want to be, sometimes you got to be Clark Kent, but you should want to be Superman, right? You should want to be able to go to the next level. But this is the breakthrough challenge. This is how you can break through to that next level in your life. So you should now be awake. You should now want to live your life consciously, not just be a sleeping sheep, right? You should want to say, okay, I want to change my life. I want my life to be going in this direction, not this direction, right? So you should know exactly who you want to be in your life, because in order for you to get where you want to go, in order for you to have the breakthrough, you have to be somebody different. The person that you are right now is stuck on that lower level of human nature, with those little tiny ups and downs. You're not really getting anywhere. In order for you to be somebody different, you have to know, who do you want to be in life, right? And then you have to write down the characteristics of these people. You have to write down, who are people that already are living the life that you want to live. What are they doing? What are the actions that they're doing every single day? And now you can take those actions, right? You should understand that it all starts with identifying what identity you should have in order to break through to the next level of your life. You should understand that it all starts with identity, and that as soon as you identify fully with that version of you, your entire life will change. You should also have a word that clearly describes the way that you are being, the way that you are showing up. And it should be very, very clear how it is that you're going to act, and what you're going to do. You should also have understanding of what it means to have an alignment to get to your goal, right? You should try and stay in alignment with your goal. So your goal is, you want to have a big YouTube channel, right? So then in order to stay in alignment with that, you have to take action every single day for that YouTube channel. You have to create a video. You have to create a post, right? If you want to build the business of your dreams, you have to stay in alignment with your goals. And the way that you do that is you say, I am somebody who does this, right? That's what this was. I am your name, and I choose to be this, your word, bold, and your action is what you're going to do, because that's just who I am. This is the person that I am. And now you have the breakthrough mechanism, right? So you can become the greatest version of yourself. Boom. And then you can go to the next steps. Now you have your breakthrough. Now you can start to truly change your life and truly get where you want to go, right? And I think that is all I got for this, but it's incredibly powerful. And I hope you guys see the light of everything that we broke down here, so that you can become the greatest version of yourself, so that you can have the breakthrough that you've always wanted. So I think you guys should definitely rewatch this video, but have a pen and paper. And the biggest part of this whole experience is the figuring out who you want to be in life, right? And then picking one habit, right? And when I say habit, it has to be something like juicy, like I was talking about. It has to be something that if you did that every single day, your whole life would change. You want to also make it something that's with your human nature. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a couple examples of what I've done with clients that has made it. So one client, he just wanted to start cold calling every single day, but he hates cold calling. He hates it with a burning passion, and he just couldn't bring himself to do it. And it's because he was trying to be something that he is not, right? So we had to change the way that he thought about it. So instead of teaching him, hey, cold call, everybody before noon, we changed it to, you should call people to put a smile on their face before noon. You should call, 10 people before noon every single day and try and put a smile on their face. Okay, so that's one example of how he had this goal. He knew what habit he wanted to do, but he did it for like 7 days and then he failed and he quit and he couldn't keep doing it. And it's because it was going against his human nature. But he's a very smart guy. He loves putting a smile on people's faces. So he switched it to you're going to do cold calls in the morning now every day. But your goal isn't to do cold calls, it's to put 12 smiles on people's faces every single morning. All right. So he would call people and try and put smiles on their face. And it just so happened that he was cold calling at the same time. Another example, a good friend of mine, he's a very creative person, an art person. And he makes tons of money, but he never seems to keep any of the money, right? So his original habit that he was trying to do is he was going to budget and he was going to go over his budget every single day, and he did that for like 6 days, and then he totally gave up, and it never happened. So he had to come back and revisit it, right? And instead of it being a chore, instead of it being something hard for him to do, we switched it to something that was with his human nature, and we turned it into a game. We said, okay, instead of you budgeting every single day, what if we play a game and we see how long your money can last, right? So then he would go to a show, he would sell a ton of art, and instead of him trying to budget every day, he would make a game with himself and he would try and spend as little money as possible. He would try and save as much of the money as possible. And he's been doing this now for 2 or 3 years. And now he's a master at saving money and a master of getting ahead, all because he turned it into a game that went more with his human nature as opposed to against his human nature. Okay, so these are just some examples of what you can do. I've got one more. This lady, she really wanted to work out, she wanted to be more healthy, but she hated doing all this crazy workouts and all these things. So we pivoted it, and basically we asked her, okay, like, what do you love doing? What's something you enjoy? And she said, well, I really love, listening to these podcasts and blah blah blah. And I said, okay, well, instead of committing to working out every day and going to the gym every day and doing all this stuff, like, what have you just committed to? You're going to listen to these podcasts that you love, and while you're listening, you're going to work out. Right. So now every single day she gets on the treadmill and she listens to these podcasts that she absolutely loves, and she's getting in better shape than she's ever been in. And she just stuck with it every single day by adding that little bit of a tweak to the habit that she wanted to do. But she went with her human nature, which was that she loves listening to these podcasts. So she made it very powerful. She made it very possible. So that's just an example. So like the whole goal of this, though, is for you guys to think about, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And what's one habit that if I started doing right now is going to get us where we need to go every single day? Okay. And it's very, very powerful. And this is exactly what I did. And I've taught other people how to do this. And this is how you can have a breakthrough in your life. But the reason that the one habit is so key is because as soon as you start doing that one thing, you commit to that one thing. But the reason that this is so powerful is because this one thing is going to start to build you confidence, identity, and choice every single day. And you're going to start to transform your life doing this, right? And you're going to start to make progress towards your inevitable goal of where you really want to be in life, right? And if you can just stick with it, one simple habit, one simple thing every single day, again, you're going to build more confidence. You're going to build more momentum, right? And you're going to actually start to see progress, right? You're actually going to start getting closer to your goals. And as soon as you start to really get that first breakthrough, which will happen in towards this goal, because you're working on it every single day, you're going to get more momentum. You're going to get more momentum. And then you're going to start to identify as somebody who does this stuff naturally. And this is how you can really have that massive breakthrough and change your life. Well, I hope you do this. I hope you take action, right? Because now it's all about doing, right? It's not and being the person that you want to be. Just start doing. Just pick something, make a list, and pick one of those things and commit to it. And the thing is that word too. Don't just do the thing, but do it with style, right? Do it boldly, do it confidently, do it with greatness, and then identify as somebody who does those things, and you're going to get you where you want to go.